Hi. Okay, great.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi, Beth. How are you? How was your day?
Good, good. Baruch Hashem, everything's good. Thank you for inviting me on. Such a great idea to get together and just chat.
Yeah. Okay, great. So it's Erev Pesach. People are busy, but I really, okay, let's just, before we get into it, I just want to mention that there's a war going on with Iran in Eretz Yisrael, what they're going through as we're getting ready for Pesach and and there are issues and we get nervous. I just keep sending them lots of love, especially people on
Right.
Instagram. I just keep thinking of them trying to get the house ready for Pesach, and the kids are not even in school.
Yeah, it's actually, so my brother-in-law and sister-in-law made Aliyah like in September, and they have small children. So in our family chat group, we get to see firsthand, what their days are like, hanging out at the park with the kids, keeping them busy. And it's not easy. It's not easy. My daughter's in seminary there. So
She's gonna stay there for Pesach. Is that what you're
she's
telling me?
staying. Yeah, she's
Oh
staying.
wow!
Yeah, so
So how did you make that decision? Was she supposed to stay or?
she was supposed to stay. And I think everybody, every family, every couple has to do what works for them. For me, I'm not a big traveler. I travel, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And certainly my daughter, didn't want to send her off, at this time on planes in different countries and different airports. So as much as, right now we're seeing the instability and what's going on in Israel, there's a big part of me that feels it's safer for her there than traveling here.
I totally understand. Okay, so let's get into it. First of all,
Let's get
Beth,
into it.
just give us your name and where do you live and what do you do and how do we know each other?
Sure. So how we know each other, I don't know if I could answer that one. Maybe you could answer that one after. I am a women's coach. I'm a mikveh educator. If you follow my page, you'll see the different things that I post when it comes to relationships, different tips, relationship with yourself. I do a lot of that, communication, working on our emotional well-being, our emotional health, movement, and health and wellness are a big passion of mine. I work privately with clients, one-on-one with women, with couples, with callas, lots of callas right now. And
Wow.
uh, and
Fabulous,
yeah.
fabulous. So yeah, one thing that I have to say about your page, every time I get on, I'm like, oh my gosh, Devora, you have to go do exercise. Beth is exercising no matter what. Can I know with your full
No
schedule and the
matter what.
family and Pesach? And the truth is, there is nothing like movement. If
Yeah,
right, if you
absolutely.
feel if you feel that you're getting nervous or something, just take a walk around the block. Yuntif also, you should know. I try to always walk
That's great. That's
on
amazing.
Yontif, try to get out of
That's
the house
amazing.
and walk.
Good.
So yes, and I once did a live with another woman from Montreal. I think her name was Hannah Kalbach.
Yes.
We were talking about the secret of Jewish femininity, and someone had DM'd me, can we please do something with Shalom Bias with Beth?
Oh, so
So
nice. Love
so
it.
that's where the thought came in my head. Yeah, you're great at relationships. I love the way you're always posting. Okay, so let's start. It's Erev Pesach, and there's a lot to do. So first, just calm us down that no matter what we do, we don't have to do a lot. We just do what we feel comfortable doing. And to compare is to despair.
Yes.
Somebody called me today. It was cute. Her neighbor has her freezer full.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we
That's
know.
what she needs. Yeah.
No, and we know comparison is the thief of joy. That's the famous expression.
I like
Gedalia
that. Yeah.
Fenster would say, "Stay in your lane." The best thing we can do for ourselves and for our marriage and for our families is to stay in our lane, and truly only compare ourselves to ourselves. Over the years, my husband and I think you have to, as a couple, develop your strategy, your way of approaching Passover prep, Pesach prep. So what will work for my in-laws works for them, but it doesn't necessarily work for me and my husband. You have to look at your schedule, see what's realistic for you. And this isn't, I mean, it's a great opportunity to do spring cleaning, but it's not spring cleaning. So my husband always says that, if what we're going to do is not going to allow us to come to the table with the ability to be a part of the seder, to really connect with it in a meaningful way, to enjoy the time with our family, then we need to really take a good look at what we're doing and shift things and rework our plan, because the goal is not to come out of this feeling overworked, overwhelmed, overtired, like you can't walk on your feet, stand on your legs. So sit down, look at your home. Everybody has a different size home. Everybody has different rooms and areas. It's so specific to you, but develop a realistic plan. I think that's what it is. What is realistic for me in each day? Like I look at it day by day and say, today I can get X amount done, but after that I need to stop. So some people are more morning energy people.
Right. I was
Some
just going to
people,
say that some people, they love to wake up in the morning. It's quiet. All the
right?
ingredients are announced. They cook. And then I have friends till 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I shared a story once, which for me was such an awakening. It was Bidikas Chametz at night.
Yeah.
And I pushed myself. I was in the Pesach kitchen and I was making falsa fish. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called fake fish. And
Okay.
in Europe, because the fish was stored next to the wheat, they did not eat fish on Pesach. So they made meatballs, white meatballs that looked like fish. And it was called falsa fish, which means
Oh,
fake.
that's so interesting.
Right, so my grandmother made it and my mother made it. So to me, you can't go into Pesach without it. So it's Bedikas Chametz. I have a bunch of little kids, and I'm in the Pesach kitchen at 1 in the morning, which is I'm a morning person. So at night, 1 in the morning, I was tired and I cut my finger. And we
Ah.
had to call Hatzalah, and I needed stitches 3 in the morning from a random guy in the emergency room. And
Mm.
the Hatzalah guy said, "Take off your ring because we've lost too many rings in the emergency room." And I took off my ring. I gave it to a very responsible child. I don't know which one, but we never saw the ring again.
Oh
And
my
besides for
goodness.
the diamond ring, I still don't have in this finger full,
Oh wow.
yeah, full movement. So to me, it was like Devora, like because I was always into that, like just push yourself, extend yourself,
Right.
and I realized, you know what? Not everybody is an evening person, and I should have stopped, like you said, know when to stop when the day's over, and call it a day, and tomorrow's a brand new day. You know?
Exactly. I think it's a lot about honoring and respecting your own energy. I think where we, go off course is that we don't respect our own energy. Sometimes we don't even get to know what our own energy is. So, I think that even Shabbos is like an opportunity when you're preparing for Shabbat to also take a step back. That's like kind of a smaller scale of what Pesach is, and say, well, my husband knows me. By Thursday evening at 8 o'clock, I should not be delving into another recipe or dish. I should be cleaning up. He looks at me, he's like, don't do one more thing, because he knows that will put me over the edge. So we shouldn't even be getting to that point. Sit down. I think it's not even a couples discussion. Get to know yourself
Right.
and
So my
know.
question is, how does somebody do that though, Beth? Like, if they really, let's say, didn't see a good role model at home. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone
Right,
saw their mother come to the seder and fall asleep by a manishtan already because she just couldn't keep her eyes open, right?
right.
So how does a young newly married or even married 20 years, how do they figure out like what can I delegate? What can I delegate? What am I good at? What are my strengths? Is there a formula
I
or
don't
is
think
it just
there's I don't think there's a formula. I think this is something that you get to know better in yourself over time. But from the starting point, look at how your energy works during a day. So, like you said, if you're a morning person, well, then maximize that morning and get things done in the morning. And then slowly, as your energy starts to dwindle, well, don't add on more later on. Start to wrap it up. Like if you're that person that is more a early day energy, then, by the evening, by like 4 or 5 o'clock, wrap it up. Don't start adding on other things to do. If you're that nighttime person, you have the nighttime energy, wonderful. Then, if you have small children, when they're asleep, plan yourself out that your ingredients are ready. If you're cooking something, if you're cleaning a certain area of your house, then get to that once you put your kids to bed. But I think early on for young couples, it's just a noticing things.
Mhm.
Just notice, become more aware, get in touch with yourself. I think the problem is we're constantly in action and doing, that we don't actually stop and notice how we function, what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and learning from those moments. There'll be moments where you'll end the evening in tears, and one of you'll be limping on one leg. Well, I think those lessons will come to all of us, and Bezrat Hashem, not in big ways, but those kinds of moments, pain is always a motivator for change. So
Right.
say,
I remember that line. Pain is a motivator for change. Right.
yeah, so say to yourself, wait a second, how do I want to feel? It's like what you said. How do I want to arrive at Seder night? And that's something to reflect upon. And just that as a starting point, I think can help you work backwards and figure out a realistic and what works for you. The
Okay, great. So now the next thing I want to say to you is about delegating. Some people by nature are very good. They'll walk into a room, pick up that, do that, like they have their little henchmen,
Yes.
But how do we learn that skill that not everything I have to do, and if there's money to hire help, I should, and to delegate responsibilities, especially for the older children in the house, and then also how do we recognize the strengths in our spouse, like what they can help us with for Yantif?
So I think in terms of delegating, it's really looking at it as a partnership with your husband, with your children. I think from a young age, you can start delegating. And so my husband and I, our thing is like, we've been doing this since our kids are little, not just on Pesach. Every Sunday, we would give the kids one child takes the vacuum, one child is, putting away toys that are lying around. We give them each a task, and yeah, getting to know that person according to what they are good at, not to give them something that, is gonna, like, they're gonna be dragging themselves and feel like, I can't do this. How do I do it? Something on their own that they can do independently, and let them do it. I think the big part is that once you've delegated, I think it's hard for us to release control. So you're
Right.
not only delegating, but then you're following the person around and showing them exactly how you want it
Right, because
done.
that's the thing. We want the Seder to look a certain way. We want the bookcase to look a certain way. We want the kids' closet to look a certain way. And if we're going to delegate, it's probably not going to look the way we want it to.
So I think you need to choose the things that, for you, you're okay with them not looking exactly how you want them to look. You can definitely, I mean, it's definitely a place of growth if you choose that thing that you want it to look that way, but you give it over to somebody else. If you can't do that, don't do it. Like, this isn't a moment where we're asking you to, like, really take a big step out of your comfort zone.
Right.
But choose something that afterwards you can look at them and say, wow, thank you so much for doing that. And even if it doesn't look exactly how you wanted it, praise them for it, especially our children, our husbands too. Allow them to do it their way, because a lot of times I think that's like the classic situation where we ask our husbands to do something and then they don't do it how we want to do it done. So that kind of pushes them away from next time
Right. I
doing
just have
it.
to say it's so cute when you send a guy to a grocery store with a grocery list. I think it's universal. Things come back that were not on the list, and some basics aren't even there. It's just a cute joke, but
Yeah, for sure. It
yeah,
is. It is. And I think it's like also to look at those things like, if you send your husband to the grocery store and he's the type of person that, like, my husband loves sauces. He loves like looking at all the sauces on the shelves and buying sauce, mayo sauce. I don't know. It's not my thing. But when I see him come back with it, it's also to know that he chose those things because maybe those things bring him joy. Maybe those things he feels connected to them. So rather than kind of, um, looking down, frowning upon it, I think it's like something to look at in an endearing way. Wow, he chose the things he likes, and allow him to enjoy them. And if he didn't come back with exactly what you wanted, I think it's to first always start with the positive. Thank you so much. This was helpful. You relieved some of the tasks that I need to do, and in a moment, especially Pesach, when we're doing so much, I don't think it's a moment to nitpick
right.
at like the little
Right.
things.
Right. So that really brings my next question. How do I control myself? If by nature I find myself getting irritated, my spouse said he's gonna kosher, let's say on Monday
Right.
at 8 p.m. And all of a sudden he's stuck in the office. He calls, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen tonight. It's so frustrating because you were planning on cooking Tuesday morning, 7 a.m.
Right. Right. So I think it's like if that is really not just important to you, but you're kind of on a time on a time crunch in a way because you need to start Tuesday morning. I think it's to sit down and have a realistic plan and not to like preempt by saying, I know, like always, you'll probably get stuck at the office and kind of do that self-fulfilling kind of thing, but rather have the discussion from a space of support. If you know your husband is somebody who works late, my husband is that person, he works late. And it could happen with all good intention. I think it's first starting by seeing the good. Like Brene Brown, she has this line that says, she says, what's the most generous assumption you could make about somebody? Well, if we're going to make that about strangers, start by making the most generous assumption about our husband. Well, he intended to come home on time. He got caught in something. I know what happens. It's happened before. But sit with him beforehand. If this is a concern of yours that it could happen, and come up with like a plan B. Like, what can we do? How can we have a plan B so that to make it happen? Start a bit more in advance. If like, it's kind of like the people who always come late to the party. If you know you're going to come late to the party, well, schedule the party a few hours, get ready
Right.
a little in
Right. So I'll tell
advance.
you something as far as I go on a personal level. Like last year, we had done that renting the houses thing in Florida,
Okay.
and all the married children came, and it was wonderful, and they all pitched in. But it was a lot of work because we didn't realize with so many people, you need food 24 hours, and
Yeah.
we didn't have enough help, and it was hard to get help there. So
Okay.
this year, I chose to honor myself. I love the way you said to respect yourself, and I said I'm not up to doing it, but I had a plan A and plan B. Plan A was going to a Pesach program, which we have done before, but the Pesach program I wanted to go to was very, very expensive,
Okay.
and the other one I felt wasn't, I didn't really know anyone, wasn't my crowd. So I'm going to plan B, which really could be a plan A. I'm going to one of my married children who have a beautiful home, Kanainar. So I'm excited about it. But like what you said, I love that you shared plan A and plan B. I think because then we don't get so disappointed
Right.
when the
Right.
plan A doesn't work out because you know what? I have a plan B. So just in case he can't kosher at night, I'll just have to shift everything over to an extra day. That would be my plan B. Or
Right.
maybe hire someone to help me cook so we double cook on the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Something like that. Or add like start a day earlier so you have a leeway of you know um getting him getting it done a day earlier. I think it's always to plan it out. If work weekdays are days where one of you works late, you both work late, and we don't plan it out that way. Get things done, get majority done on a Sunday. Get last Sunday we got a lot done, and then during the week I did as much as I can with my help. So plan it out in a way that I think you just have to be realistic. Don't
Right.
like
That's what I'm getting from you. We have to plan, but realistically plan. What if somebody is coming in late to the game and didn't really plan so realistically? What's a practical tip just to get through the next few days and the crunch time, besides for exercising every day or like waking up a half hour earlier just to walk around the block? Anything else that comes off the top of your head?
you're
Um,
saying in terms of caring for yourself.
Caring for yourself and calming yourself when you realize, wow, I'm so behind and I feel that there's a lot to do.
I think it's sitting down, making a list. I think we end up piling a lot. It's a lot of mental piling and mental buildup. But when you sit down, write things down, go day by day. Like I do, everything is like either in my phone or on paper. Monday to do. I have these lists like to do, to do. And if you have to move something to the next day, but I think once you see it visually, the power of writing, also writing is powerful, but that you see it visually in front of you, it becomes less overwhelming than it was in your mind. And I think it's also once you've written it down, look at that list and then um, sometimes there's things you can remove from that list. So if you see that you are behind, well, maybe you've planned to make a lot of recipes. Like we all have, we're ambitious. There's so much out there. There's so much accessibility. There's so many great food influencers on Instagram. You get excited. You want to make so many things, but there's only so much we can do. So I think
Right.
it's like write down the things that you love, that you enjoy, that you think like are would be great things to make, but then relook at it and say, okay, these are my priorities. If this happens, great. If it doesn't, it's okay too. I think that's I think that's
Okay, so it's really working on yourself, that things should be okay, even if it's not that complete list that I wanted to do, which I think it's building a muscle slowly all year. In other words,
yes,
every Shabbos, every high,
yes,
and then you
exactly.
slowly build the muscle. It's like going to the gym.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think it's like you have to take Shabbos, you have to take every holiday, and that's when you're putting this into practice, and then always revisiting, reflecting, and saying what worked and what didn't. I think for Baruch Hashem, for 21 years now, I'm constantly revisiting my plan and saying, okay, last week I did this. That wasn't such a great formula. Next week I'm going to try and do something differently. So I think that's an important, definitely an important piece of it. And yeah, and like we said at the beginning, the comparison is huge. We don't need to compare, and we're comparing, but we don't really see what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So I think that's important. I think what I was going to add also is the day of Erev Pesach. One of the key things to do to arrive at the holiday, really to be able to be a part of it, to be able to feel like you can connect with your family, that you're not feeling overworked, overtired, lacking patience, is that day not to overwork yourself. I think plan for, if you want to get a lot done on Tuesday, but make Wednesday a lighter day. Make it a day where you add something that's like, that's like a treat for yourself, getting your nails done, going to buy flowers, whatever it is your thing. But that it shouldn't be that you wake up Wednesday and it's like cooking marathon until you sit down
Right.
at the table.
I saw that when I was in Israel visiting because my daughter went to seminary last year. So I went for the sukkahs. So I haven't been there in 10 years. So it was very exciting. I jumped on the rail. And so a whole week I was going on the rail. And then Thursday I got onto the rail in Yerushalayim
Yeah.
and it was elbow room only.
Yeah.
So I was like, because the whole week goes fine. And I asked someone in my broken Hebrew, Mahayom, like, what's going on today? And she looked at me like I should know. She says, Ze Erev Shabbat, like I'm supposed to know. And I
Right.
was thinking, oh, because like in Brooklyn, Friday's the frenzy. But
Right.
in Yerushalayim, frenzy. And really for us, that's how it should be, like the day before the frenzy. And then, go into Shabbos or Yontif more relaxed if it's possible.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it's like, Wednesday during the day, go buy yourself a new outfit, go do a little shopping, find a way, people may be listening to me and thinking like, seriously, can we really do that? But I really think that that's a better plan then you feel like just going on and working, because that puts us in a place of resentment. We don't want to. This is not what it's about. It's about family, it's about connection. The food is important, but my husband always says that if cooking and going over the top is going to put you in this space of put kind of like a wall between you and your family, you not feeling in the space of connecting, not having the energy, then what is this really for? uh I think you have to, that's where looking at what you're doing, looking at your menu and saying, can I really do all this? Or maybe save some of it for the second days. I wanted to do this. I'm going to save it. Some of it I'll do, some of it I won't. But we'll get to that later.
Right. So, what I wanted to ask you an important thing also is how can we prioritize our family and spouses even when we're nervous? I'm going to give you an example. Somebody will let's express to me like I know Erev Pesach 2 weeks before I can't even have a conversation with my spouse. I walk in, it's she's trying to get rid of the chametz, they're about like that, and then I'll hear it from the other side. I'll hear it from the from the woman that like I have so much extra responsibilities and my husband's not even pitching in. So what practical tips could you give for us, the men and the women, like maybe just think about a card to say something nice over the next few days to keep the atmosphere like just calm and escalating into anything
I think
besides for the plan. I love the
right,
I mean, what you said tonight was amazing. I think a lot of people are going to benefit. I'm going to save this live. I'm going to post it.
great.
I'll probably also transfer it into YouTube because a lot of people don't have Instagram so that they can get these tips. It's very important. But I was just thinking maybe you have other tricks up your sleeve because I see you're really experienced. Um,
So I think first and foremost, every day, whether it's Pesach prep, whether it's Pesach, whether it's just a regular day, always see the good in your partner. See the good in yourself, but see the good, notice the good. So I think that's the first point, is that it's easy for us. Negativity is so strong. Negativity can seep in so quickly and take over. That's why we're constantly needing to overpower it with positivity. So notice like 3, 4, 5 concrete specific things about your spouse that are positive. Start with that, so that the negative isn't at the forefront. I think for men, my advice for men is know that women take on a lot. Women take on a lot of responsibility in the home. We take on what's called the mental load. So, aside from everything we're doing that you can see in front of you, our minds are constantly in action, thinking about everybody's needs, the needs of the household, the needs of the children, the needs of him, of your husband. So just for a husband to be more patient, knowing that, especially at this time of year, my wife takes on a lot, and she just needs me to listen. Sometimes we just need a listening ear. We just need validation. We just need like a confirmation. Yeah, honey, I get it. I see you're doing a lot. Sometimes it's
right.
really saying something simple like that can really calm the situation and create connection. As soon as, a woman hears from her husband, wow, I see you're doing a lot and I appreciate it so much, that in itself can lower the tension. I think for a woman, it's that ask for what you need. Ask for something specific. Don't expect your husband to read your mind. Don't expect your husband to know without you telling him what you need help with. The Gottman talks about the I really love the Gottman approach, the soft startup. So if you're going to ask something of your husband, um, don't ask of it when you're in that moment of feeling frustrated. Think through your words, and we always get further when our words are softened. So approach him with, honey, I really would appreciate it if you could help me with, cleaning that cupboard, vacuuming that area. Uh, Start off by saying, in the past you've helped me with this, and it was so much of a relief when you did that. And really that opens up a man. Men want, that's the masculine. Men want to be here for us. They
Right.
want to help us, but we block them when we come on too strong and when we're harsh with our words. So I think and if it takes,
Do you kind of feel like it's a sandwich where the peanut butter and jelly in middle is what you're asking for, but you start first with a compliment, how, last year you
yeah,
did it. Could you do it? And then another compliment on the bottom? Because I find
yeah.
with like children, it definitely works when they're
It
prepared
is.
like
I
that.
always tell my colleagues that there's a lesson about when we make challah, that we add more sugar and we add a smaller amount of salt. And the sugar represents sweetness, and we want our words to be sweet. And the salt represents more like discipline, feedback. So you want to give feedback, you want to ask for what you need. Yeah, like wrap it up in some sweetness. You always get further. And we would easily do it. I always say, if I would speak that way to a cashier or a stranger on the street, even more so, I should speak to my husband that way, because we more easily will, soften or be, more selective in how we approach a stranger. Well, your husband is part of you. He's your other half. So I think that's always something to consider, that we're in this stressful time. We're speaking to each other with kindness, with respect. Our whole talk here is about shalom bayit. So I think the shalom bayit will come when we really notice how we communicate. And if it takes
Yeah.
pausing or doing something to reset, like you said, take a walk around the block, make yourself a tea, take some calming deep breaths. But I speak a lot on my page and with my clients about the power of the pause. And,
I would say pausing also, like you can go into your room and take a 15-minute power nap, or you can
yeah,
read. A lot of people enjoy reading,
yes, yeah,
just a few minutes of
absolutely.
small article here and there. So I love what you shared about the next few days. Let's be positive and look for the good in others. I just
Yes.
want to add, how about putting on music?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think especially I just heard today from Simcha Liner. He put out a new Pesach, like a whole collection.
and
It's really nice.
Okay, that's so nice. Yeah, put on music. In the morning, one of my practices, I drop off my kids at school. I put on one of my favorite playlists, and I actually sing loud in my car by myself. And that can shift your mood. When you wake up and you're thinking, I have so much to do. How am I going to get it done? And you're already being weighed down by like all of the to-dos in your mind. I love that idea. Music elevates it. It's uplifting. So that's definitely something. Put it on in your kitchen. Sometimes, Thursday evening, if I'm cooking and I'm feeling kind of like, okay, I'm losing steam, put on the music, and that shifts the energy. So you need those like mood shifters. Whatever it is your mood shifter. Get to know what those things are and connect with them. I think it's important to have those, your own little toolbox of those things.
Right, right. I wanted to share um, something nice from Rabbi Shais Taub. I was once by one of his lectures, and he was saying, if men would only realize they walk into the house, there's supper on the table. If they would just say thank you for the delicious supper, she's making supper for another few nights. Like, it doesn't
Right.
take much
Right.
for the other person to want to step in and contribute more and help more. So
Yes.
I love this, that we should just the next few days just be more positive. I loved what you shared about the planning and the sitting down and being realistic, because that leads to less disappointments. I love
Yes.
that. I want to just put it out there if anyone has any questions for Beth, because she's so experienced. She's a college teacher. She's a women's coach. She gives Shalom Bias. So if anybody has any questions that they want to just put into the box, any other topics that you want us to address. Did you want to close with anything, Beth? Like any other thoughts? Because we basically covered everything. How to
Yeah.
stay calm. Yeah.
I absolutely. I think we covered everything. I think it's always just, looking at this whole holiday, looking at Pesach and saying, really, what at the end, what is this all for? I think it's like we need to shift our perspective. When you're in that moment and you're in that stress, what is this all about? It's all about connection. It's about all about, uh, creating memories. It's all about, all the love that we're gonna, you grow more love between you. And what do you want your children to walk away with? What feeling do you want them to walk away with? What memories do you want them to walk away
Right,
with?
because it's interesting. If you look at all our holidays at our Yomim Tovim, Pesach is the only one where we have a commandment, a mitzvah, v'higadat levincha,
Yes.
to sit
Yes.
around with our children and tell them the story again of how we were in Egypt, we were slaves, and then we were saved. And every year we repeat the story of the birthing
Right.
of our nation. Yeah.
And it's our story, and I think it's remembering that it's more than just the story that happened then. It's what today are those things that are my personal Egypt. We can get into a whole talk about that, but what's holding me back? What are those things that are my triggers? And it's an opportunity for us to, be honest with ourselves and say, what is my work right now? Look, Pesach puts in front of us a lot of opportunity. Is it working on my patience? Is it working on my ability to communicate with more love, communicate with more respect? And you want your kids to say, "Mommy prepared a beautiful meal, and she got to enjoy with us too." I remember my mom sitting, in the kitchen preparing with so much love, but she also sat with us and enjoyed the time together. So I think it's just put it all in perspective for yourself. Don't overdo it. Um, and
I think it's a great feeling if we can go to sleep at night at a normal hour, right?
yes,
Right, at a
yes,
normal hour, go to sleep. And Reb Yisrael Salanter used to make a din v'cheshbon every night. He would sit down and write everything
right,
that he did right, and and all that.
yeah,
If we can go to sleep at night now, the next few days, knowing I didn't raise my voice, I
yes.
stayed calm, I didn't get upset, no one's angry at me. I'm not. I think that's a tremendous accomplishment. I see someone here wrote a question: how should one deal with married children who are happy with all their siblings, but as a mother, I sometimes feel left out. Wow, it's a new stage where I always needed, and now I'm more on the sidelines. Okay, wow. So she's saying like all the children kind of make their own plans and get together, or even when they're by her house, I assume, and she feels a little left out as the mother, having her married children.
I think it's, talking to them again from a space of calm, not when you're feeling all the emotions around it. Um, Approaching them about how much you love having them there, how you love spending time with them, and that you'd like to be included. You want to feel a part of what they're doing, what they're talking about, whatever it is. If they're preparing food together, how can I contribute? How can I be a part of it? I think that's, it's always with honesty and from a space of love and a space of not blame, but I just want to be a part of what you're doing. I just want to be a part of you. So I think that's how I would approach it.
Right. So on the same note, we could really say the opposite, where how do you get the married children involved? Because they come sometimes, to the yontif with their children, and they're very involved with the children. The kids have to go to sleep and they have to eat, and
Right.
there's not much help going on in the kitchen, and sometimes a mother could get frustrated. How come the married children aren't like helping, you know?
I think it's similar to like the delegating or to asking.
I think it's the asking. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think
being
it's
comfortable asking. And
yeah,
also, when people contribute, I find like whenever I do a project and I have outsiders contribute, then they feel that they want to come to the event because they
yes,
actually mailed out the
right.
invitation. Yeah. So I think
So
getting
yeah,
children and married children involved in the preparations as well,
yeah. So
I
yeah,
think it's
having
very
those
healthy.
discussions in advance, like calling them up. Hey, I'm prepared. I'm setting. I'm getting organized. I'm making my menu, and asking them what part would they like to have in it, rather than waiting till the night of or while you're in it. And I think while you're in it, to ask, I'd really appreciate it if you could help me with, such and such, or if it's, with the kids cleaning up whatever the kids did or their toys or whatever it is. I think it's that it's asking and not waiting until you get to the point that you feel frustrated or resentful.
Right.
Um,
And also hire enough help. If it's,
yes,
financially
yes,
possible.
yes,
I have friends that at this point have waiters. I have friends that have extra help, Erev Yontif, during the meals, etc.
yeah. I
But
think it's
again, it comes along with really asking, because just like you can ask the children and the husbands in the family, you can always ask for what your needs are. And that is, I do need more help. I
yes.
usually,
Yes, I agree. And I think it's, again, I'm always talking about being realistic. It's that when you're inviting and you're looking at what's involved in the preparation, also know that I can't do all this by myself. I will need someone to help me with the dishes, someone to help me with the cleanup, someone to help me prep the vegetables, whatever it is that is your need and will bring ease to you. Uh, Ask for it,
right.
seek it
So
out.
someone just
Uh,
commented here, it was really nice. Someone just commented, we delegated one couple for each meal, and this really worked out for us.
Oh wow, I love
That
that.
I love that idea. I never
Yeah,
heard it before. I just
that's
love that
great.
idea. Wow,
That's
you
great.
see? So this is another idea, to talk to people, to get
Yeah,
ideas from other people. Like,
exactly.
what do you do to make Yontif more enjoyable
Right.
and more
Right. Yeah,
fantastic? Yeah.
that's great. Everybody will feel a part of it.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to feel a part of it. I think I love this conversation and I hope I hope the tips that we talked about will be helpful to people. I'm always reachable on my Instagram page. I'm happy to get people's DMs, happy to answer questions, and anytime really.
Right. You just want to spell out your Instagram page if anybody needs it?
Sure, sure. So my Instagram is my handle is at Beth Moskovic, BethMoskovic.
Fantastic. But that really was so special. I loved everything that we spoke about. I wish you a good Yantif, and
Me too.
I'm definitely gonna be calmer now the next few
Ah,
days.
good,
Definitely,
good.
definitely. I love it. Thanks so much again, Beth. Good
A
night,
pleasure.
everybody. Thanks
Good
for
night.
joining. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.